If you clicked on this video, you might already be aware that filing this Elterngeld or Kindergeld here in Germany is not the easiest process. The application itself is not that tough, but figuring out ways to maximize your earning potential in the months that you're taking this parental leave or maximizing the time that you can spend with your children, that part gets difficult. Germany actually offers you so many opportunities that sometimes you can do it wrong. So I have 2 kids. The first child I had, I made every mistake you could possibly make when filing Elterngeld or filing for these parental benefits. With the second child, I thought I made no mistakes, but it turned out we made a few mistakes that we hadn't planned for as well. So today I would like to introduce you to Elodie, who is the owner of Baby in Berlin, and she is going to support me today and hopefully inspire you guys to also get the support that you need when filing for this parental benefit. And we thought we'd just kind of go through what a typical consultation call might be like together so that I can get the answers, but so that you can get the answers too.
Hi, everyone. So I'm Elodie. I'm the owner and founder of Baby in Berlin. That's a consultancy company helping international parents in Germany with their paperwork around the arrival of a baby. So I help them focus on applying for Elterngeld, Kindergeld, finding a kita, finding a midwife, and just generally understanding the German system around pregnancy and all of the paperwork that comes with it.
I wanted to jump on this call because I'm not planning on having baby number 3, but I feel like in the past I have made many mistakes. But I'm actually currently still in Elternzeit. I'm still on a part-time parental leave, and you can actually change the way that you want to manage your parental leave in Germany. And so I thought, you know what, this is better time than any really, so that we can kind of dive into some of the questions that you might go through with some of your regular clients, and then hopefully I might learn a thing or two about what I could do moving forward.
Well, before I can recommend anything, there's quite a few bits of information that I'm going to need from you. And this is the first part of any consultation that I'm going to have with my clients, is just asking questions and finding out about their specific situation before diving into the options that they have, basically how to maximize the benefits. First of all, when were your children born?
2018 and 2022.
Do you have a partner?
Yes.
And what are both of your nationalities? So he's German.
And I'm still Canadian.
And how long have you been in Germany, Jenna?
10 years.
And I assume you have a valid residence permit?
It's the Niederlassungserlaubnis, so the permanent residency.
Onto your work situations for both of you. Can you just explain to me a little bit? Employed, self-employed, a mix of both? Do you have any other type of activities or are shareholders in companies?
My husband works full-time. He's employed. I'm self-employed, currently working a maximum of 32 hours. As I mentioned, I'm on Teilzeit, Elternzeit, so this part-time parental leave right now until June next year. And we do have other forms of income, 2 different rental properties, and we also rent out our property here in Düsseldorf too.
Does the rental income come through a company or is it a freelance setup?
From one of the houses, it all comes through our property manager. And then in the other 2 flats that we rent out, they just come straight into our bank accounts.
And so through the property management, that do you have like a registered business for that?
No, it's also independent.
Okay, so that actually in the eyes of Elterngeld doesn't count as professional income if it's not through a registered company, like a Gewerbe, so a GmbH or GbR or any type of registered company. So you're self-employed. In the last year before your last child was born, did you have any income from unemployment benefits, sick pay?
Nothing.
And did your husband have any of those?
No.
So that's also important to know. So maybe for the viewers who are watching this, any type of income that you've had from professional activity will be used to calculate your Elterngeld, but anything like, sick pay benefits, unemployment benefits will not. So if you've been unemployed for a period of time before the birth of your child, that will unfortunately count as 0 and will decrease the Elterngeld that you can get. And what type of health insurance do you both have? Are you public or private?
We're both public. Republic.
So that's another thing which is quite interesting to know and might be quite impactful for some of you out there, is also the fact that depending on the type of health insurance you have, you may or may not have to keep on paying your contributions to the health insurance whilst you're actually claiming the benefit. So in your case, if you have no income whilst you're claiming the benefit, you will not have to pay into the health insurance because you're married and you can be insured as a family member free of charge under your husband. But as soon as you start making some income, you're going to have to pay part of your income into the health insurance, which is probably what you're doing right now since you're working part-time.
Yeah. So I pay my own health insurance. It's capped at, how much do you make now for a mini job? Like 525 or something? Figured it out. I now pay my own health insurance.
Okay, so right now you said you are on part-time Elternside. So Elternside is actually just for employees. It's the parental leave. Are you on the Elterngeld Plus?
I'd have to go back and check in our kind of organizational chart, but I extended the time as long as I possibly could. And then my husband took 3 months off. The most unique thing I find about the German system is that I took some gaps where I worked full-time, because as self-employed, there were months where I had bigger campaigns and bigger projects to work on, and I was able to kind of change it based on what projects were coming in. And then the one thing I learned with the second child was that at a certain point in time, you can't have any more gaps.
Yeah, because your last child, you said, was born in 2022. So you've indeed gone over the 14-month mark. And within the first 14 months of life of a baby, you can, like you said, pause your Elterngeld, go back to work full time, maximize the freelance income that you can make, and then go back on the parental leave benefit. But this is no longer possible because she's probably well over 14 months old now. Do you happen to know how many months you have left?
Just a little over a year left.
Are you happy with that situation?
It's a bit tricky right now because obviously there's benefits to getting this parental benefit. That's why it's called a parental benefit. And it's good, and it gives me obviously more opportunity to spend time with my children. She is currently in daycare, unfortunately, in Germany. Sometimes, even though we pay for the full-time spot, their availability at the daycare actually isn't full-time. So all in all, I actually have 25 hours in my week where I can actually work. It is tough, if I were to say, okay, I'm going back full time, because realistically I can't work more than 25 hours because that's when I have to pick my kids up from daycare. So it's kind of a tricky situation now where I'm capped at how much money I can make because I am still making this parental benefit. I would like to be able to move forward in my business, earn a little bit more of an income. So I'm kind of in this tricky spot where I'm not sure whether I should keep it.
So right now, your mostly only option is to keep on getting the Elterngeld Plus. But the question is, are you currently sort of restricting yourself in terms of freelance income that you're making because of the Elterngeld?
Yes, absolutely. I think I'm in a tricky spot. I need to know, okay, am I going to make more than what I could be making if I didn't have the Elterngeld coming in? As a freelancer, obviously, that's a very tricky question to answer because you never know. I have no idea.
So when you did your application for Elterngeld, you had to give an estimate of how much money you were going to make monthly.
Yeah.
Are you roundabout the average that you gave, or are you way out, like way over or way below?
At the beginning, I was able to be way below. In the last few months, I've been over. And then I was hoping that would all even itself out at the end of the year, but I'm not sure because they want to know every single month, like not how much money did you make in total when you were receiving Elterngeld. They want to know every single month, did you make under or above the limit that you've set for yourself? I'm a little worried about that too.
Have you reported monthly? They usually ask at the end.
So I got a form that I have to fill out and then I submit once everything is complete. Like once all of the months are done of the Elterngeld, then I will send them the form, and then either I have to pay back money or I get a little bit more if I didn't earn as much as I had anticipated.
Well, definitely for the months where you earned below what you declared you would earn. In terms of the Elterngeld, it's good news because it means you're going to get a back payment from them. For the months when you're earning more, you could potentially have to pay some money back. Remember that, like I said previously, the very minimum you can get is 150 euros. So even if you're doing tremendously well and making like loads of money, you can still get 150 euros of Elterngeld, which is not very much these days, in my opinion. And it's because I'm a freelancer too. I always think, you should always try and make as much income as you can as possible. The other thing is, do you have the possibility with any of the clients that you work with or any of the sources of income that you have as a freelancer? Is there any income where you can say, don't pay me until the end of my Elterngeld? Affiliate partners that you work with where you could say, I'd like to get my commission paid once I'm out.
It's definitely a good option. I didn't know what the rule was here in Germany, whether your Elterngeld is based on either when you made the money or when you conducted that job. So for example, if I was creating social media content for a client and we published that this month and then I got to pay out for it next summer, then I didn't know if I was going to be penalized for having already submitted the work that I provided them.
Right now, what they work with is, they call it the Zuflussprinzip. So that's the cash flow principle, which means that what they look at is your cash flow, is when the money hits your account. As long as you're a freelancer, it can work this way. The difference comes in when you have a registered company. So like a GmbH or GBR, because they look at the overall income over the year and then sort of spread it out. At first, it's only a declaration of income. So you don't have to prove everything with invoices or receipts or anything. It's just like you said, they send you a report sheet and you just have to say, this is how much, income I made. They usually then deduct 25% of costs to work out your profits. If you have more cost than this, you can also submit and ask them to deduct more cost than 25%.
I had no idea. This is one thing I've struggled with so much, is that when I was reading through the paperwork, they said only income, the money that comes in before taxes and before expenses. And I was like, what? Because I actually have a lot of expenses as an entrepreneur. I have a lot of different programs and platforms that I have to pay for. That pretty much takes away all of my income that I made anyway. I was like, that can't be possible, because then I'm going to be broke at the end of the day if I take Elterngeld. Like, it doesn't work out. But everywhere I could read online said, no, like, you can't include any expenses or any costs that you have for your business. Like, that won't be deducted from your income.
If you were employed, they would look at your net income. What do you have on the bottom right-hand corner of your payslip? Like, what is your income that you take home at the end of the month? And so if you're a freelancer, and I get it that this is overly complicated and it's difficult for some people to get their heads around as well, things like, what do you mean by revenue, income, profit? I mean, all of this. So what they want is, typically they send you a form. You have to list your Einnahmen, which is your revenue. And then they deduct 25% of costs by default. And then there's always a little line somewhere where it says you can, on demand, ask to deduct more costs than 25%. But then the reporting is less easy, because obviously you have to then provide them with a Gewinnermittlung, which is a profit and loss report, which can also be just very simplified. You could, for example, say that these are my Einnahmen, my revenue for the month, minus these are my costs, deduct that. And this is typically accepted. So it's a good period, definitely, to make some investments.
I definitely have, not intentionally, but I was like, man, I wish I could write all this stuff off, because the amount of programs and products that I've had to purchase this year for my business, because I've been focusing on growing and building for the following year, is crazy. And I was like, how can I not write any of this off? But even the idea of 25%, I feel like that's quite a fair number.
Maybe just another thing that you could look into would be the third model of Elterngeld. So we've talked about the basic Elterngeld, which is what most people take at up to 1,800 euros per month. The Elterngeld Plus, which is maximum 900, which is what you're on right now. And then there's a third model called the partnership bonus months. Partnership bonus months are a way for parents to get into a full-time working household again, but with a little bit more flexibility. In a lot of cases, the birthing mother will take, most of the time off when the baby is born. One partner will keep on working more or less full time. And then at some point, there is, like you said, the Eingewöhnung into a Kitas, where, both partners are looking to, step up work again and go back to like full on, everyone is working. This adaptation process can be quite taxing.
Oh my goodness. Honestly, you don't know how long it's going to last. Like, some people say, Eingewöhnung is typically 2 weeks, but for many kids that I know, it's taken up to 8 weeks, 10 weeks. Sometimes they say, Eingewöhnung didn't work. Sorry, your kid still needs a couple more months at home before we can even try again. So you never know.
You never know. Also, this is typically the moment where kids who have been cooped up at home, they start socializing. So they bring them all the viruses. And so they're sick. you're sick.
You're explaining my life right now.
Their environment is expanding, so they're not sleeping well. You're not sleeping well. It's a really tough time. If you have like one parent whose responsibility it is to carry all of this and who has like a deadline in a month, I have to go back to work full time. And the other parent who is just like living their life as normal, it can be super difficult, especially if you're an international family and you don't have a lot of support around or not the financial means to get, help from outside. This is what the partnership bonus are for, in my opinion.
It's amazing. You're like reading my whole life story right now. Not enough support, not enough sleep, too many sicknesses coming home. So this is for me.
This is for you. And I think it's a great thing. And I think not enough parents take advantage of it because they don't think about it and they don't know. It's above and beyond the initial entitlement that you have for Elterngeld. When you think, okay, I've taken the 14 months that I'm entitled to, there is nothing left. There is this partnership bonus. And the partnership bonus months are 2 to 4 months. So it can be 2 months, 3 months, or 4 months, during which both parents have to work part-time. Part-time meaning between 24 and 32 hours per week each. And it has to be consecutive 4 months or 2-3 months, and simultaneously you would earn income from your part-time work, but you would also have time to pick up the children or just be with them when the daycare is closed, whatever. And you would get an additional Elterngeld money, which is minimum 150 euros per month per parent. So regardless of what you earn, you'd still get always 150 euros, which again is not very much, but for the two of you it's 300. If you do this over 4 months, it's 1,200 euros to do something that makes sense. If you try and calculate like the financial benefit, you probably won't find it. You don't take the partnership bonus months to make money, but it makes sense, I think, for the family as a unit.
Yeah, for sure.
It just makes things a little bit more relaxed.
This is what we didn't do with our first child, and I was really bummed out about it because I saw it on the papers, but it was, to be honest, quite overwhelming. And my husband's German, so I thought he'd know, but for him it was just as overwhelming. And then I realized there are services even in German that help you figure out Elterngeld, so it's not like an expat or immigrant problem. It's like everybody struggles with this. I wish I had have known. I wish I had have done it properly. I wish I had have had your support at the beginning.
Well, this is something you can always sort of apply for afterwards. Obviously, when you send your first request for Elterngeld, you kind of give them a plan of, this is what I think, how I think it's going to work out. They can always be changed. No two situations are the same, depending on, if you're employed, self-employed, if you want to work part-time, if you can work part-time, when you're going to get childcare, how long each of you wants to stay home. All of this is very individual. And what's great about Elterngeld is that it's super flexible. But what's really bad is that this flexibility comes with a huge amount of complexity. Asking yourselves the right question is the first step. It's easy to be lost, and to do just like everyone else might not be the right way for you.
And the way that it works with you then, as a client, would I be able to then send you over that form that I had filled out with the different months and stuff and say, hey, Elodie, does this look correct to you? Is there any way that I could like maximize my time off to spend with my child, and then kind of get your idea or input on it?
Well, typically when I have this type of consultation, we do this in the pregnancy still. I have some clients who come to me and, the baby is already born, but people coming to Germany, for example, and they can also claim Elterngeld even though the baby was not born here. Typically, we'd have the consultation in pregnancy. And so we have a lot more flexibility. What is the best option for the parents? And so I explain flat out all the opportunities that are available with the Elterngeld, but also how does the parental leave work? And then I'm actually the one filling out everything. So I fill out the forms. I mean, the application form is now 27 pages long. So I fill out everything so that my clients only have to print the forms, sign them, and send them off to the authorities. And then I also provide the support for the entire follow-up.
Oh. Yeah, the service you offer is just amazing. I wish I had have known how much I needed it beforehand. It's so worth the investment to get somebody to support you with this. I swear. It's crazy, honestly.
It's so much worth the preparation. Just the peace of mind that you have, I think, is invaluable. I remember for my first child, I was so panicked at the idea of making a mistake that I actually didn't do anything for 3-4 months. And I think I lost 3,500 euros because I could not get myself to fill out those forms, send them off. Yeah, I've learned from it, I guess. The hard way. Some of my clients are in the same boat and the same situation, and they come to me and the baby's already, 6 months old, and they haven't applied for Kindergeld, which is another type of benefit that parents can apply for.
Every case is so different. My case per child was so different that it is really worth seeking the help that you can get. And then of course, I'm going to include all of your details down below so that if anybody has any questions for you or wants to hire you for one of your packages that you offer, not just for Elterngeld, but for the child benefits like the Kindergeld, you guys have all of those resources down below. Just wanted to say thank you, honestly, for answering all of these questions, for going through my specific situation, and then hopefully that will inspire others to make sure that they take those steps to benefit their family as much as possible and not be too scared to make it happen.
It's been a pleasure. Thanks, Jenna, for having me.
Overwhelming? Not at all? What do you think? Don't forget, all of Elodie's information is down below if you do need that additional support. Vielen, vielen lieben Dank und wie immer, bis später.